All right, today we are diving deep into the Whataburger menu. We're going to take their official allergen guide and break it all down so you can order with total confidence. Let's do this.
So, have you ever been there, staring at that iconic orange menu? You're excited, but maybe a little nervous because of a food allergy? Yeah, I get it. This one's for you. We're going to make this super simple.
Look, the goal here is pretty straightforward. We're taking that kind of complicated allergen chart from Whataburger and turning it into a real, practical guide you can actually use next time you're in that drive-through line.
Okay, first things first, let's tackle the foundation of the whole menu, the classic burgers. Seriously, if you can get a handle on these, the rest of it starts to make a whole lot more sense.
Okay, so your standard Whataburger, it's got a really consistent allergen profile. You're looking at wheat, soy, gluten, and sesame, which, mostly comes from the bun. And get this, that exact same profile applies to the double Whataburger, the triple, and even the Whataburger Jr. They're all built on the exact same foundation.
So what happens when you decide to add bacon and cheese? Well, all those core allergens we just talked about, they stay the same. The only new player is milk, which obviously comes from the cheese. It's a pretty simple and predictable change, which is nice.
All right, let's keep it moving. Now we're getting into the all-time favorites. And, this is where things start to get a little interesting, and you find some pretty surprising allergen combos.
And here is the big question, the one that really changes the game for a few of these key items. What happens when you swap out that classic sesame seed bun for Texas toast?
And boom, here's your answer, the patty melt. It's on Texas toast, and all of a sudden, you've got egg and MSG in the mix. But at the same time, the sesame from the classic bun is gone. That is a huge shift from the baseline burger we started with, and it's all because of the bread. Now, you might be thinking, wait, MSG? What even is that? Well, it's a flavor enhancer, and it's not just in the patty melt. You'll also find it in the avocado bacon burger and the buffalo ranch chicken strip sandwich. It's definitely one of those hidden ingredients you'll want to keep an eye out for.
And check this out, the avocado bacon burger is another perfect example of how complex these things can get. Just like the patty melt, it gets rid of the sesame bun, but then it adds milk from the cheese, plus the egg and MSG that seem to tag along with that specific bread, or maybe a sauce. It really starts to stack up the allergens, doesn't it?
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the chicken sandwiches, because they play by a completely different set of rules than the burgers. We really have to look at them as their own thing.
And you know what's interesting here? There's a surprising amount of consistency. Whether you get the Wat chicken, the grilled chicken, or the spicy chicken sandwich, the core allergen profile is exactly the same. Wheat, soy, gluten, egg, and milk. And notice what's missing. None of these three have sesame or MSG.
But then you have this one, the Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich. It's the total exception to the rule. This thing contains every single one of the 7 allergens we're tracking today. We're talking wheat, soy, gluten, sesame, egg, milk, and MSG. That makes it, by far, the most allergen-heavy item in the chicken category.
Okay, let's talk about the morning menu. Breakfast at Whataburger has, honestly, the widest variety of allergen profiles across the board. So this is a spot where you really have to pay attention.
I mean, just look at the range here. On one end of the spectrum, you've got the hash brown sticks, which only have soy. Super simple. But then on the other end, you have something like the biscuit and gravy, which jumps all the way up to 5 major allergens. It just goes to show how quickly a breakfast order can get complicated.
And here's a big heads up for the breakfast sandwiches. The breakfast on a bun and the breakfast burger, they're a lot like that Buffalo Ranch sandwich we just talked about. They both contain all 7 allergens we've been tracking. That makes them the most complex choices you can make on the entire breakfast menu.
Okay, wow, we have covered a lot of ground. So the big question is, how do we take all this info and actually use it? Let's put together a super simple, safe ordering strategy you can remember.
Here it is, 4 easy steps for your next order. Number 1, start with a simple baseline, something like a plain Whataburger Jr. 2, know what your add-ons are doing. Remember, cheese adds milk. 3, watch the bread. That Texas toast is a total game changer, adding egg and MSG. And finally, number 4, which is without a doubt the most important step of all,
is to always tell them about your allergy. I mean, this is a direct quote from Whataburger's own official menu. Even with everything we've learned today, the kitchen is a shared space. Cross-contact can happen. The only way to be truly safe is to let the staff know so they can take those extra precautions for you. And that's our deep dive into the Whataburger Allergen Menu.
Hopefully this makes your next trip a little easier and a lot safer. Now I gotta ask, let us know in the comments, what menu out there should we decode for you next?